Hi friends, and welcome to Gilded Loop Crochet. My name is Matt, and I'm glad that you're here. If this is your first time checking out any of my videos, be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe, all of the things. And if you're returning, thank you for coming back. Today we have a really fun yarn review to be going over and doing together today. So, as you can kind of see in the background here, RedHeart has come out with a new yarn. This is called RedHeart All-in-One Quilt Motif. So I wanted to bring this yarn to you. And one thing that you'll know, and those who've been around for a little while know, is that when I do a yarn review, I'm not just going to show you the ball of yarn, because what are you going to get out of that? I always have swatches. So stay tuned for the swatches. I will be holding up the yarn swatches as we kind of go through, reviewing each color that I have for you. And then if you stay tuned at the very end, we'll do a close-up of all of them so you can see them a little bit closer. Okay, so I have messed around with the all-in-one granny square yarn so many times. And I hated, double hated it. It's not the yarn, it's not the colorways, I loved all of that, but I could never get it to work just right. I adjusted my tension, I did everything, and I got a couple squares to work, but I spent way more time trying to get it to work and trying to get it to line up than if I would have just bought the different colors and made the stinking square myself and weaved in all those ends. It was not worth the frustration of not having to worry about weaving in ends using the granny square yarn. I have a ton of granny square yarn, and if you've been following my channel, I had a Yarnspirations unboxing video recently where you saw I even got more. I have found other uses for it. I'm doing some planned pooling projects with this color specifically. I've also done some things that are just worked in the row and used more like a self-striping or variegated style yarn. And those things turn out beautiful too. But the actual granny squares drove me mad. And I know I'm not alone. Some people got it to work, but it was a hassle. I did not experience that with this quilt motif yarn. So good news for you there. It's much better. Okay. Some things. This recommends a 5.5 millimeter hook if you're crocheting and a 5 millimeter knitting needle if you're knitting. Don't do that. You need a 5.0 millimeter hook. I used an H, a 5 millimeter clover hook for everything. I started out doing the 5.5 and I was getting frustrated. It was like I was getting real close. The only way I think that you could make a 5.5 work is if you were the world's tightest crocheter. Then possibly. But I mean, like, if you're a tight crocheter, maybe the 5.5 will work. That's what they recommend. Ain't no way for people who crochet loosely or even, I would say, at a normal tension. So if you're a normal tension or more of a loose crocheter, 5 millimeter. And until you start messing around with these all-in-one yarns or doing any planned pooling, you never even hardly think about your tension. It's just second nature. But you really start to notice it when you start working on those projects. What I will say is, so I switched to the 5 millimeter hook, and then there were maybe a few times that I just had to unravel a couple little squares and maybe come back and do them a little more tightly or a little more loosely to make it end right at the right spot. But using the 5 millimeter, I found that they were ending at the right spot, I'd say 90% of the time, which made me really happy. These little, they're C to C squares, and kind of, they call it the quilt motif. C to C is something that I can do in my sleep. It's so easy. It always ends up looking really nice. you are supposed to be able to get 5 squares out of one ball, which I tested. And I can tell you that that is absolutely the case. You do get 5 squares. So let's go ahead and take a look. I do have 4 colors that I'm going to be reviewing and showing you today. I pulled up their website here just to give you a show of everything that they've got going on here. Now they have 12 total colors. Some of them are a little bit more brightly colored. It's just not my vibe. I go for more of like neutral tones, maybe a pop of color here and there. So I picked the ones that I vibe with a little bit more. Here are the colors that they have. They have one that's called Cultured, which is like a peach, mustard, and cream color. They have Heirloom, which we have here today. So I do not have Cultured, but I do have Heirloom. And this is Heirloom. Heirloom is charcoal, taupe, cream, and gray. These are kind of some of the colors that you would be seeing in this Heirloom color. So let me show you what one of these squares looks like in the Heirloom. This is the Heirloom square. So it starts out in this corner, and ideally this would be the center, because what you're going to do is you're going to be putting, the way that you line these up, you put 4 squares next to each other, and then this creates a big square in the center when they're all paired up next to each other, which if you stay tuned to the end of the video, when I do the close-ups, I do have one that I have at least 4 pieces, so you'll be able to see kind of what it would look like. This is absolutely neutral tones all day long. Creams, grays, taupes, and charcoal. I absolutely love, love, love this color. Now, I am not going to be doing any like stitch-alongs to show you how to make these square today, but I will be making a pillow cover from one of these colorways, and I'll be doing a full tutorial on that. There is a pattern on Yarnspirations website for a pillow cover, and although I'm going to modify it a little bit, I'm going to go off of that pattern a lot. So I really like this. Neutral tones all day long. Looks awesome. So the next colorway that they have is Relic, and I did do Relic. This is Relic. Now, the one thing that was a little difficult for me was to be able to figure out what the colors actually are in here in some of these online. Like I had a general idea, but the tonal hue when it comes out is just a little bit different for some of the things. So when I saw this color online, I thought it almost looked like one of the stripes in here was like a rosy color, and it wasn't. This one surprised me a little bit. So this is, how do I describe this? It's not charcoal. It is like the deepest peacock color you can imagine, almost to charcoal, but it's like a really deep peacocky color. And then you have like a medium gray and white or cream, and then you have a little bit of taupe. Now, let's go over some of the stats of these just to share. You do get quite a bit of yarn here, of course. It is it's an 8.8 ounce skein, 8.8. So that is a little bit less than what like a RedHeart Super Saver Jumbo would be. A Jumbo's a 10 ounce, so but not far off. You get 440 yards. It's 100% acrylic. It's a 4 medium weight. And the squares that it makes are a 10-inch square. So 10 by 10. I will say for the pillow cover, the one thing that I wasn't anticipating, I didn't exactly look at the size of what the squares were. It's going to be a giant pillow. It's more like, it's not like a throw pillow that you would have off to the side of your couch. It's more like a larger pillow that you would put on your bed or something like that. If you were to put that together as a pillow. They do come with a little pattern on here to make it as a blanket. And I think it would also look really phenomenal as a blanket. I really think that they have hit a home run with this yarn. I like it a lot. So this is the sample of what did I say this was called? Relic. So this taupey color was the color that I thought online read a little rosy to me, but it's definitely more of a taupe. So these are also neutral colors. So again, this is your, gosh, it's like the darkest, deep green. That's why I say it's like the darkest peacock color you can think of. Almost leaning towards black. Then you have a medium charcoal color, white, this taupe stripe. And I really like it. This greenish hue, it's subtle and still keeps the neutral vibes going. Highly recommend that. I liked it a lot. Okay, so our next color that they have on there is Lineage. And Lineage is the one that they have all of their marketing photos of. If you look up the pillow cover pattern on there, it's with Lineage. It's like a pea green, a mustard, a brownish, and a white. I did not get that. Then they have Enduring, which is rose, gray, white, and baby blue. I kind of hate the color baby blue. I just been overdone. I'm a 90s kid, came up in the 90s, it was everywhere. So I steer clear of it unless I'm making a baby blanket. The next color that they had is a color that I did get, and this one's called Nostalgia. This is Nostalgia. Nostalgia is this free pattern that's on the yarn ball. It's made with Nostalgia, and that's on all of them. This one had more of a pop of colors in there, and I do like a pop of color here and there, and this one really surprised me. I really did enjoy this. So this is like a goldenrod type color, a charcoal, teal, pink, all of that. And here is our sample that we have for Nostalgia. So you have like your yellowish mustard, golden, whatever you want to call it. It's a nice tone. Then you have charcoal, pink, charcoal again. Then this is, I would call this like a turquoise color, charcoal, golden, and charcoal again. Now, when I placed my order, I tried to find, I was thinking of making the pillow cover and what I wanted to make the pillow cover backing from. And I had initially got this color. This is turquoise. And you see I got like a big Super Saver Jumbo size because I was thinking, oh, this turquoise, based on what I saw online, is going to match this. That's not a match on this planet anywhere. So I will use the turquoise for something else, but it did not look the way that it came out. But I do like this. This is definitely more of a turquoise color. And this turquoise is not really turquoise. It's more bright blue, like a lighter bright blue. But I did find this already in my stash that I had. And this matches identically to this. So if you wanted to make this color and have the back be in this gold, which I think would look really nice, it's just gold. It's RedHeart Super Saver Jumbo, and this color is gold, and it's a spot-on match. So I think part of the struggle is just figuring out what's your backing going to be made of if you're making a pillow cover, or if you're trying to find a coordinating color for like a border or something like that. If you were going to make a whole blanket out of this, this would make a great border. Anyway, there's that. The next color that they have in their lineup is Authentic, which is pinks and roses and creams. I did not get that. Then we have Classic, which I thought about getting, but I didn't. It's a bunch of different colors of blues and light greens. Then we have Cherished. Now, Cherished I did get. And Cherished is this color. Now, Cherished is like a aqua, a medium gray, like a baby blue, and it's not quite pea green, maybe the next shade up from pea green. But it surprised me. I really liked it. Now, anyone who's been following me for a little while of time knows that peacock, like the color peacock, is like one of my all-time favorite colors. I absolutely love it. Like the mix of blue and green. I love blues and greens more. But here is what the square looks like for Cherished. So you start with this peacock color, and you go into gray, and you go into this light blue, gray, this, like, I guess it's more of a lime green, gray, peacock, and gray. I did order some yarn for the backing for this, and I think, although it might have a slight color variation, it's close enough to be on the backing. This is called Real Teal from RedHeart Super Saver, so I think that that would make a good backing. Or you could just go with this medium gray tone for your backing. But even though, like I said, even though this is like a slight variation of color, I think it would still make a decent backing. And this one, I tested their theory of being able to get 5 squares from one ball. And you absolutely can. You can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can get the 5 squares. Let's look at the last couple colors. That's all the samples that I have, but I will do close-ups of them in just a second, just to share the other colors with you real quick. Roots is a color that I really liked, and Roots is, again, neutral tones. It's creams, taupe, like a burnt orange color, which is also one of my favorite colors, and like a tan. So I really thought about getting that one. The next color was Vintage. I did not vibe with Vintage at all. It's like pumpkin orange, yellow, and like a creamy color that I just didn't go with. Now, it could be your vibe, but it wasn't mine. And then the last color that they have is Epic, which is all purples and lilacs and light blues. So it's really great for like a girl's room or something like that if you're going to make a pillow or a blanket. So again, that's kind of what they've got going on. Without further ado, let's go and take a close-up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do our close-up here. Now, how I came about finding this yarn and doing this yarn was from a subscriber request. So if there is a yarn that you really want me to review, drop it in the comments or message me anytime and say, I would really like to see a review of such and such yarn. Just know that my niche is more like value yarns, and I don't like working with wool. But aside from that, I am more than willing to review anything you got for me. I work a lot with acrylics. And yeah. All right. So this is the one that we were just looking at, and we're going to come back to that. Okay. So let's start with this. So this is Heirloom, the neutral shades. And this is what it looks like up close. Again, this is all done in the C2C square. So you have pretty solid pattern. And the thing that's really lovely about C2C is it just naturally creates texture. So you can see you get something that's just a little bit more squishy. So you have good texture, you have a solid, You could pull these apart and find a little hole in there, but when it's just resting, it's solid and squishy. Love, love, love. I might make the pillow out of this. If there is one particular colorway that you really, really like that you want me to do the pillow cover in, let me know which one that is, but I'm leaning towards doing this one. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at Relic. Again, like I said, Relic just surprised me. It wasn't something that I thought I was going to absolutely love, but I really, really do, because this turned out to be more of a greenish tone. It's like a gray with a green hint, definitely on that peacock type notes. Love it. Love, love, love. So that's that. Then we'll just look at Nostalgia. Nostalgia is the one with these pops of colors. That's that project that you see there on the ball band. And here is our Nostalgia square. Gold. Really, really, really love golds, pinks, turquoise. If you're someone who does like pops of turquoise in your home, this is the one. Okay, and then the last one, Cherished. Cherished was the one that really surprised me. I'm usually not into like a pea green. That's like the one shade I don't like, which my shirt is kind of a pea green today, but I think it looks really nice together. And I think what sells it for me is this peacock color, like a true peacock color. And I absolutely love, love, love. Okay. I have 5 of these, so I'm going to show you what 4 look like laid out next to each other, so you can kind of see the quote-unquote quilt motif. Now, of course, you would join these all together. Let me zoom out a little bit. But that is what you'd be working with. And then as you start to have the other pieces kind of come together, let's see, you would do like that. So you can constantly be making the squares. So like here, this peacock would be the center. Up here, it's gray is the center. And it just, that's what creates this motif. You see how it's that color and then that color. And then it goes back to that color. So that's what you're looking at. All right. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to make this guy into a full blanket, because I think that would be fun. And I think I'm going to make either this guy or this guy into a pillow cover. You let me know which one you think will look better as a blanket and which one you think would look better as a pillow cover. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And again, I will be bringing a pillow cover tutorial where I'll show you how to do the stitches and how to make it all line up and all that. And aside from that, I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for coming. Bye.